All right, everybody. Thank you so much for coming. We really appreciate you guys coming out to help celebrate my mom's life. Just gonna turn this music off. So yeah, again, thanks for everybody for coming out. Some people actually traveled quite a distance to come, and we really appreciate it. At this point, actually, I'd like to invite Shelley Christian to come up. She's going to do a quick reading, and then I'm going to read the eulogy. So.
Just want to extend my deepest condolences to Lee and Tamara and Jay and all the family. And I'm going to be reading Psalm 23. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters. He restores my soul. He leads me in paths of righteousness for his name's sake. And even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. For you, Lord, are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies, and you anoint my head with oil. My cup overflows. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever.
Thank you, Shelley. We appreciate that. Thank you. All right. So my mom, Rika van Hardeveld, passed away in the early hours of January 25th, 2024. Those who were fortunate enough to have met her knew her to be a kind, caring, and compassionate person. Mom was born in Amersfoort, the Netherlands, June 3rd, 1950, to Willem and Gisbertje van Klompenburg. Her younger brother, Herman, completed the family in 1952. Mom was a fun and adventurous young woman who met the love of her life, my father. After a 2-year courtship, they were married in February of 71. They were a happy couple, and their family grew when their first son was born. I showed up 1 year and 1 day after their wedding. My sister, Tamara, was born in 1977. Tamara brought Mom great joy after losing her father at such an early age. The year after Tamara was born, we took a vacation that would change the trajectory of our lives forever. We traveled to Canada for a vacation to visit family, including Yanni Kramer, who was her cousin and best friend. During the trip, we spent a lot of time in Saskatoon and embarked on the Great Canadian Road Trip. Upon arriving in Banff, we were all amazed at the beauty that Canada had to offer. We enjoyed our time there, and my dad wanted to stay right away. He did not want to go back to the Netherlands. But we went back to the Netherlands, and things went on. Things moved on. My parents ended up seeing a program on TV that reminded them of Canada and started to inquire about immigrating. My mom's uncle, Omadris, agreed to be our sponsor, and we immigrated to Canada in 1979. Adjusting to life in Canada was not easy for Mom. She didn't speak English and spent some time at night school and watching TV to help her learn. During her time at home, she loved to cook and bake and took great pride in her home. That being said, learning a new cuisine can have its own challenges. Our first Thanksgiving, Mom stuck the turkey in the oven and waited for the bird to be ready. Several hours later, a friend stopped by. Mom asked what she was doing wrong. Manola nearly fell on the floor laughing when she opened the door to the oven. You see, Mom had never cooked a turkey before. When we came to Canada, turkeys were not common in the Netherlands. Manola pulled the bird from the oven. Mom had placed the frozen turkey in a roasting pan, filled it up with water. Needless to say, the bird wasn't cooking. Manola drained the water and removed the giblets and such from the cavity and verified that Mom had defrosted the bird in the most unorthodox manner possible. Manola showed Mom how to make the stuffing, and they got the bird back in the oven. In the years that passed, Mom's Thanksgiving meal became legendary. Her bird was always amazing, and the stuffing was second to none. I'm still not able to make the stuffing half as good as hers, and believe me, I've tried. Mom has always maintained an open door policy. Anybody was welcome anytime. She had more than a few friends stay while they were going through difficult times. In 1981, Mom met Lynn Semchuk. Lynn invited my parents to Faith Alive. It didn't take long for us to feel like family there. Some of the people here and watching online became great friends with our family. The people at their churches knew they could count on them in times of need. We had lots of visitors from the Netherlands. Because of our love of Banff, we would subject them to the Great Canadian Road Trip as well. My Oma on my father's side visited most often. She made a lot of trips over the pond and nearly always got to stay in a new house. She even visited during the winter once, but only once. She vowed not to make that mistake again. From my mom's side, we also had the pleasure of the company of her mom, her brother, and sister-in-law. Before moving to Regina in 1988, Mom worked at Faith Alive Christian Academy. She worked with the juniors, and they all loved the way she spoke and explained what they were working on. Mom was wonderful with children, especially babies. She ran a day home where countless infants, toddlers, and children received her tender love and care. She loved nothing more than seeing a baby's first smile, hearing a first word, or witnessing a first step. Mom was a voracious reader, gardener, and collector. Mom had more plants in the house over the years than most greenhouses. We couldn't even keep track of how many angels and nutcrackers she had amassed. She loved music and dancing. Her feet would tap anytime she heard a good tune. Mom and Dad moved a lot. They were always looking for a new adventure, making lifelong friends wherever they ended up. When their time in Saskatoon came to an end, they moved to Regina. They found Living Fountain Fellowship and Solid Rock Ministries, and a warm greeting to those watching from those churches. Career opportunities for my father took them back to Saskatoon and then off to Nova Scotia. However, they missed the connections they'd made in the prairies, and even though they loved their house on the hillside in Nova Scotia, they decided to move back to Saskatchewan. They moved back to Regina with Mom once again looking after children. However, their longing for the home of their youth motivated them to return to the Netherlands. They enjoyed life back in the Netherlands, but found that they were missing their children too much here in Canada and started planning their return. When they heard that Tamara was expecting their first grandchild, they accelerated the move back to Regina. They made it back to Regina before Tamara was set to give birth. Mom asked if she could be present for the birth of her first grandchild, and Tamara was happy to have her there. Mom was over the moon to be one of the first people to meet Ryler. Mom tried to be there for Grayson as well, but Ryler had unplugged the telephone so he could plug in one of his devices. So Mom missed out on that one. Isabella was in too much of a rush to see the world to wait for Mom to get to the hospital. So her grandchildren, Ryler, Grayson, and Isabella, were the light of her life. She looked after them when Tamara went back to work, and Mom made sure she had special treats for the kids whenever they'd go camping, and loved attending as many of their sporting and extracurricular events and activities as she could until her health deteriorated. She spoke often and lovingly about her grandchildren. At the end of her life, Rika was surrounded by her family. The family is very grateful for the amazing staff at the palliative care unit in the Regina Pasco Hospital for taking such good care of Mom in her final days. Mom died peacefully in her sleep. Rika, also known as Mom, and Omi will be greatly missed. Tamara? Yeah. We're going to move the laptop so that you guys can see the slideshow. We'll do our best. So sorry for any movement you see now.
There's no sound. Is there sound? No. On the side of the TV. Oh, it's beautiful.
All right, let's try this again. As the camera like sees my butt. Where, Ryan? Where, here?
Yeah.
Coach, pause the speaker. Let's say the teacher wants to.
Is it going now?
There. Yeah, that's good.
That's good. Yeah. That's good.
I got the date right on that one.
You did a great job with that, Tamara. Thank you.
So some of you guys all noticed watching that slideshow, there was a disproportionate number of pictures of me as a child and the young one versus my sister. There's a very simple and honest explanation. I'm just much more photogenic. But in truth, during those early years, my father had a darkroom set up. So he took a lot of pictures and was able to develop them himself. By the time Tamara came along, they moved in a different place where he didn't have the opportunity to set up the darkroom. So not as many pictures got taken. So that's the reason behind that. So nothing nefarious going on. So, but yeah, so we're gonna invite Ryler up, right? Yeah. Ryler's gonna come up and say a few words, and following him will be Grayson and Isabella? No, just Grayson? Okay.
So for those that you don't know, Ryler, this is his dad, very good friend of mine. And so Ryan will read the message that he hasn't read yet. Ta-da! Or you want me to read it?
Well, okay.
I can read it.
No, we're good.
I've read it 5 times. All right. In loving memory of my dear Omi. As I reflect on the beautiful memories we shared, one particular stands out. The way I used to call you Omi. For those of you who may not understand the significance, in the Netherlands, grandmas are traditionally dressed Oma. But our story took a different path. You see, as a young child, my attempts at speech often resulted in me calling out Mummy for my grandmother. It was a simple mistake, but one that ultimately led to the birth of Omi. Though it wasn't the correct pronunciation of Oma, it became her name in our heart. Despite its departure from traditional Oma, Omi was you, It embodied your essence, your unwavering love, and your gentle spirit. And for that, I'm eternally grateful. My grandmother Omi embraced this unconventional title with pride and love, which then was passed down to Grayson and Isabella, also calling her Omi. She found joy in being our Omi, relishing in special relationship we shared. For her, being called Omi was a badge of honor, a testament to the love and closeness we shared. Today, as we celebrate, I thought you said something, and celebrate the life of our dear Omi, I am filled with gratitude for the countless memories we created together. Her presence brought warmth and light into our life. Omi, I want you to know you're deeply loved and greatly missed. Your memory will forever be cherished in our hearts, and your legacy of love you left behind will continue to inspire us all. With all my love, Ryler. Way too tall. Way too tall. All right, Grayson. Want me to stand here?
Sure. All right. In loving memory of Omi. Omi, you were more than just a grandmother. You were a cheerleader from the moment I could walk. You told me to believe that I could do anything I set my mind to. These past few weeks have been the hardest. Pain of my absence weighs heavy on my heart. There's a glimmer of hope, fueled by the memories, unraveling encouragement. You always believed in me. You always saw potential in me. In your honor, I've pushed myself harder than ever before. Poured my heart and soul into everything I do, especially waterpolo. I'm proud to say that I made Team Sask for the Alberta Open and wish more than anything that you could see to be here to share this moment with me. But I know that you're watching me from over above, cheering me on with the same radiant smile that always lit up your face. You may be gone, but you'll never be forgotten. You always hold a special place in my heart, and I'll carry your memory with me every step of the way. I miss you more than words can say, but I find comfort knowing that your love will guide me through my life's journey until we meet again. Rest easy knowing that you made a lasting impact on the person I am today and the person I will become. With love and my gratitude, Grayson.
Well said, bud. Some wonderful words from some fantastic grandchildren. A few of our friends and family around the world have sent in some notes, and Bob has graciously offered to read them out for us. So, Bob, if you want to come up and do the reading. Thank you.
This one is from Debbie and Peter Rybczynski. We have found fond memories of time spent with Rika, Lee, Jay, and Tamara when we all lived in Saskatoon and when we visited a few times in Regina when they moved there. Here are just a few. There were certain songs that Peter would sing at church that got Rika and Debbie jumping out of the pew and dancing up a storm. That happened quite often. On many occasions, the summer months, we would all go to McDonald's on 22nd Street after the church service and see how many 25-cent ice creams we could devour. I think Lee held the record. Rika taught Debbie how to cross-stitch, and with such precision, hours were spent creating some beautiful masterpieces. Rika and Lee got us hooked on Dutch licorice. Our boys, Chester and Lane, grew up with it, and to this day they still love it and won't even touch the other brands of licorice. To this day, we look for Dutch stores in our travels, and we stock up on everything from licorice to Dutch foods and pastries. One can never have enough. Our most memorable Dutch meal was always made by Rika. We've never had it anywhere else but Rika and Lee's place. Oh, forgive me on this one. It was gehaktballen. They're gehaktballen, Dutch meatballs. And I've had them. They're fantastic. Served with green beans and mashed potatoes. Rika would love to tell us what was for lunch or supper when we go to their house. Rika knew we obviously loved the Dutch meatballs. There was a party in the mouth with every single bite. Yum. There is no doubt that when we get to heaven, Rika will have the Dutch meatballs all prepared for our first meal there. It'll be awesome. Some really good memories with the Van Heldervelds over the years. For the time we must endure in this earthly life without Rika. However, we know that there is coming a day when the trumpet of the Lord will sound and time will be no more. When the roll is called up yonder and we reunite, where there will be no sorrow, there will be no burdens to bear, no more sickness, no more pain, and no more partying over there, and forever we will be with the Lord forever. What a glorious day that'll be. Lee, Jay, Tamara, and family, stay strong in the Lord and the power of his might. Another message from Dorothy Dick. Rika was the most loving, considerate, kindest person. I certainly loved her. Praying for your dad and the family. God bless you all. Danica Easton. We really loved your mom. She always had a word of encouragement for us to help us through every trial of life. Her prayers were powerful, and Mom especially remembers praying for my cousin Courtney when she was a baby. Courtney recovered and is now living a thriving adult life. Love to you and your family. Hank and Yolanda. I loved Rika very much. We were very close in the 70s. We had hard times, but we got through it together. Unfortunately, they left for Canada, and we didn't have much contact anymore. What remained was the nice memories. All I can say now is that I have lost a dear family member, but she is forever in my heart. I think this final one actually made the trip here, so I will turn it over to Lynn.
Thanks, Bob.
There you go. You're welcome.
First of all, my condolences to the family, to Lee, Tamara, Jay, and your children, Tamara, who spoke so beautifully, beautiful children. To Tricia, supporting Jay. To the many friends that knew Reek and to her family, to Yanni, and to the other cousins that I don't remember all the names, but I remember Reek talking so much about you and so precious in her heart. As mentioned previously, I did meet Reek way back, and I guess I should look at my notes, but I met Reek way back. It was in 1981, I think, somewhere around there. And we were both at the same meeting. And I recognized her Dutch accent. And I had my little daughter sitting on my lap, and she was about 6 months old. So she was kind of interested in the baby. And I was interested in talking to her because I'd been in Holland about 3 years prior to that. And had an amazing trip, 3 weeks in the Netherlands and 1 week in Germany. So Reek and I connected after this meeting, and I said, hi, I said, I recognize your Dutch accent. Would you like, it's so amazing. I was just there. And she goes, oh, and I love your little baby. She's so cute. So we talked. And so we talked for like 15 minutes after that. And then we decided we would go for coffee. Now, she lived in Massey Place, and we were renting over in Confederation Park somewhere. So we decided to meet. And I have to tell you, I met Rika that year. I wore out a stroller walking over to her place with Cheryl, my daughter Cheryl, with my new friend. But anyways, we met. We talked about Delft, Amsterdam, all the places I'd been, the Hague, just all the beautiful things, Kriethorn, I don't say it right, but the canals, and all the beautiful memories. And so Rika and I started to connect because she was lonesome for Holland, and I was lonesome for a friend. Having a young baby that was very colicky, and even though Rika's like amazing with babies, Cheryl wouldn't smile. She was a tough one because she had so much colic. But anyways, we started meeting for coffee many, many times. Like I said, I wore out a stroller going over there. And she felt the connection was for her. I felt the connection was for me. And it wasn't long that I realized that she wanted to know the Lord. And we invited Rika and Les and Lee became friends. And we were at their place so many times and so much giving. Rika and Lee made us dinners so many times that we were over there, barbecues. And I think I mentioned in here her famous soldier salad was what I remember. And yeah, still to this day, Les says, like, you got to get that recipe somehow. So hopefully Tamara knows how to make that.
I make it.
Okay, good. So we met, and they quickly came to church, and we became friends. And friendship that you only meet a few people in this lifetime where you go like this. And that's how I felt about Rika and Lee. They were great friends to us. And she worked at the school. We enjoyed many laughs. We laughed all the time. Our kids played together. My kids are a little bit younger, but Jay and Tamara were so patient and so loving with our kids. So that's one of my first memories. Now, I called Rika back then. I know she changed later to go by Rika, but I remember her as Rika, and that's how I called her. We'll talk about her cooking. So who do I have? Because I did not make a good turkey yet. So I learned from Rika. So we got to find out again what the name of the lady is. No, okay, yes, thumbs up. Because Rika, I think, tasted one of my turkeys. I hadn't put very much seasoning on it. And she said, let me show you how to make turkey. And so I have now spiced my turkey up the same way as Rika did back in those days. So there's some things that passed on to generations. And my daughter does her turkey up the same way and makes my dressing the same way that I learned from Rika. Yes, we had a lot of good times. And I also remember the Dutch licorice, but I don't see that. Anybody else here? I did not get the connection. Way too salty for me. But having been in Holland, I did recognize the many liquor stores that were there. Yeah, I didn't get the same response. I have to tell one little story about Jay, but before I do that one, I just wanted to mention something about Lee. He worked in the printing press for many, many years, and he would get printers' proofs of art. They printed off at where he worked. And sometimes he got some of these paintings that probably didn't mean as much to him. Today in my house hangs the Henry Rippingler painting that you gave me. And Rika was always so generous. Our house burned down in 1999. And I lost my Dutch treasures, my Delft blue pottery, and some of the things that I had from Holland. And what does Rika do? She gives. She gave me a beautiful plate to replace the one I had. She gave me many Dutch little ones that hung in her kitchen and her cross stitch. She gave. She lived a life of giving. I love her for it. Lee gave me those pictures, and I have them today. I treasure them. I treasure them. They hang in our house today. Jay, growing up, of course, he was a growing boy. I think you were around maybe 12, Jay. I just can't remember, but maybe 12 to 14. But anyways, we bought an acreage, and we ran kind of like a holiday farm where the kids would come out and ride. And I know Becky, they were all riding horses at our place all the time. Lots of kids out there, lots of campfires, lots of fun. And I needed some good recipes for feeding these kids. And so Rika and Lee were gone for a couple of days, and I said I'd look after Jay. And so I tried out a recipe on Jay every day for making waffles. And he was, I don't know if he remembers that, but he tried, and every day I make a different one because I wanted a great holiday farm waffle recipe. So he picked the one, and to this day, that recipe is the one we make, the one he picked out. And so I appreciate Jay so much for me. And he was a great kid, always joyful. And that was another thing I noticed today, that the humor and the joy that are in a family. And I love that. I love to see that. That's good, Jay. So, yes, I just, knowing that Rika gave me so many of her treasures. I was recently, we were just been away in Yuma this winter, and we just came home. So I haven't been back home to get any pictures, or I would have brought some of the things that Rika had given me. But I will treasure those things. Will be close to my heart. And I want to just honor my friend today. We don't often, have happy times at a memorial, but let's look at the life that she invested into us, and we'll celebrate her life. And just as we talk today with friends and family, we just celebrate the life of Rika van Hardeveld, a precious friend, a loyal friend, loyal wife, loyal mother, and I'll cherish her memory forever. Thank you.
So Lynn is an example of the kind of friendships that my mom made. She touched people deeply. Lynn flew back from Arizona to winter to come here. Right? So you know that she affected people deeply. So we will absolutely miss her. Did we want to open it up, or did we? Yeah. So at this point, if people want to say a quick word about Mom, we can do so. Yeah, Yanni? Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. You want to come up here?
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Jenny Kramer. I am the cousin, the older one. When we were children, we fight, we make up, and I went through all our adult lives too. This summer she told me, Yanni, remember, I always will love you, no matter what happened. And I told her too, Rika, I always love you, no matter what happens. When we were little, we went to our grandmother, that lady that was on the pictures with the two girls. And my grandmother lived in a railroad station, and on the other side there was a farmer. In Holland, it always rains, no matter what season you are in. It must have been about late fall. And we were going to the farmer, playing with his daughter, and we were able to pick fruit from the tree and eat and everything else, and plum trees. They were so good. There was one tree we're not supposed to touch. It had those big, dark blue, purpley plums on it. It was still a young tree, but we're not supposed to touch it. Now, I was wearing my grandmother's wooden shoes, and Rika was wearing her pretty dainty shoes. But it was all muddy. Well, we heard our names. Oh, those plums was calling us. Well, how do we get them down? I don't know. Rika was taller than I am. So she found a stick, and I started shaking that tree. One fell. Well, one won't now do. The second one fell. Oh, that's better. But then the farmer came out. I told you not to touch that tree. Yeah, we quickly picked up those plums and we started running. Well, Rick was taller, so she was running faster. And I remember my grandmother's wooden shoes. All of a sudden, I was stuck in the mud. So quickly, I took the wooden shoes off and I ran to my grandmother's house. And Rika, she was first there. And my grandmother, where did you came from? Oh, from the farmer. Where are your shoes? Oh, they got stuck in the mud. But then in the meanwhile, the farmer came. Mrs. Klompenburg, here are your shoes. Oh, all hell broke loose. We were grounded. The next day, did we pay our price? But we always said, no matter what happens, we love you. And now too, she's talking to me. Sometimes I feel her spirit. And what she wants to say to you today, all of you, thank you for coming. I love you all. Thank you. And so there are many stories. But this one was kind of about the forbidden fruit. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Gabby. What's that? Oh, that's fine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I have one thing.
Okay. Lori? Saw her hand first.
And then Carrie.
Sure. And then Carrie. You can come up after Lori.
So I am Lori Nieto, and I have been, I don't know if you'd call it just necessarily a bonus daughter to Rika and Lee or a punishment. It could go either way. Jay has been my best friend since he landed in social studies class at Belfer, and I stuck on to him like a burr, and they haven't gotten rid of me since. So I love this family, and what Jay knows and Trisha knows and a lot of people don't know is that Rika and Lee came into my life at such an important part where I not only needed another brother, but I needed parents to love me. And Rika didn't hesitate the first time she met me. She understood very intuitively what I needed in my life, and she provided that right up until the day before she passed. There was no doubt in my mind that Rika loved me, and there's no doubt in her mind how I felt about her, but she made sure I felt it every time I ran into them, whether it had been a couple years since I'd seen them or if it had been a week. It's like we'd never missed a moment. She intrinsically shared in every joy I had, even though sometimes I had a hard time seeing the joy, she always made a point of pointing out the joys I had in my life to make me appreciate it. And I think she sort of always realized from the first time that we met that Jay and I were going to be a forever thing. She knew, and she took me in and treated me like one of her own. And there is no amount of gratitude that I could ever show her or to Lee for saving my life all those years ago. You never know what's going on in somebody's life, and she just saw it and she knew it and she fixed what I needed. And having my bonus family through all of the ups and downs has been what's kept me mostly sane. So I appreciate the Van Hardevelds very much. And I guess this means I win the Nutcracker competition, being as I'm the last Nutcracker aficionado standing. Sorry, Rika, you had it for many years, but now I own the crown.
Well, following on from Lori, Rika and Lee, I call them Mom and Dad. Tamara and I were inseparable from before. And like Lynn said, sometimes you just ebb and flow. And Tamara and I, through the years, have always, we're sisters. And I'm so thankful for Mom and Dad. And I remember being little, like 5, 6. And when Mom gave you a hug, it was like this pillow that just wrapped you in warmth. And going to their house while you were introduced to chocolate sprinkle sandwiches, best thing ever when you were 5. When my mom gave me tuna fish, I always wanted to swap with Tamara and Jay. And she just treated you like you were one of hers. And I appreciated that so much. And I just have so many memories. And when I met my husband, we moved to the UK and we got to go to the Netherlands. And it was like an extension of my family. When I was missing my mom and dad, I got to see my other mom and dad. And they showed us all around, everywhere they lived. We had so much fun. Fritz on the beach. Not the nude beach. No, it was a step too far. Amazing Grolsch and Heineken, and we had the Fritz were the best. And Mom cooked all the food, talking about those meatballs and goodness and croquettes, which Tamara was amazing at. And I'm just so honored to have those memories and know that I still have all of you, and I love you so much. And I will love her forever and for everything she gave me.
Thank you, Carrie. Just goes to show how a kind word and a loving embrace can change a person's life. And that's something that my mom was very good at. When you got hugged by her, she hugged you right to your soul. Right to your soul. She understood how to hug and how to love. And that's the one thing that I'm going to miss the most from my mom. So. Anybody else want to add a quick word? Okay. We have one more scripture reading by Shelley. Today, Shelley is reading 2 of Mom's favorite Psalms. So these were her personal favorites. So we figured we would bookend this with a couple of her favorites. So, and I'll be back to close it off.
Just before I read that, I just wanted to share a few memories, if that's okay.
Yes.
The first time I ever saw Rika and Lee, they came to our church, and I saw this strikingly beautiful tanned woman in a white lace dress. And I just was so, wow, she is gorgeous. And then, of course, I saw the little children, Tamara and Jay, and just like my sister Lynn said, they became part of our family. And Rik's birthday and our son's birthday, Joel, were just a day apart. So we would celebrate together. And actually, I'm going to send a picture to you and Jay Tamara, but it was when you came to Joel's birthday party and Jay's wearing the hats on both sides of his head like this. So I'm sorry I didn't get that for the picture, but that was our first introduction. And just as Lynn said, we did everything together. We did life together. And we had Christmases together and Christmas Eve over at our place in Caswell Hill area. And we bought a character home there and renovated it. And just everything was always together. And I so appreciate the fact that I can read these beautiful prayers, because that's what they are. These scriptures are prayers. And Rika was a prayer warrior. And she would pray things for you and they would come to pass. She was just the most beautiful friend spiritually and physically for our family and Lee. And Lee would do the sound at our church. So I did a lot of music there. And it's just wonderful to celebrate a woman who invested so much into my life. And I'll be forever grateful. And I'm not sad for her because she's up there worshiping Jesus as she loved to in our church and just gazing up at the Lord. I can just see her now. But I want you to know that our prayers, our family's prayers, are for you, each of your family. We will be praying for you. And we love you. So Psalm 91. And I just pray that you can picture her praying this and speaking of this. And I'm going to say he or she because it's all about she too, right? He or she who dwells in the shelter of the Most High will abide in the shadow of the Almighty. I will say to the Lord, you are my refuge and my fortress, my God in whom I trust. For surely he will deliver you from the snare of the fowler and from the deadly pestilence. Surely he will cover you with his pinions, and under his wings you will find refuge. His faithfulness is a shield and buckler. You will not fear the terror of the night, or the arrow that flies by day, nor the pestilence that stalks in darkness, nor the destruction that wastes at noonday. 1,000 may fall at your side and 10,000 at your right hand, but it will not come near you. You will only look with your eyes and see the recompense of the wicked. But because you have made the Lord your dwelling place, the Most High, who is my refuge, no evil shall be allowed to befall you. No plague will come near your tent, for he will command his angels concerning you to guard you in all your ways. On their hands they will bear you up, lest you strike your foot against a stone. You will tread on the lion and the adder, the young lion, the serpent, you will trample underfoot. But because you hold fast to me in love, I will deliver you. I will protect you because you know my name. When you call to me, I will answer you. I will be with you in trouble. I will rescue you and honor you. And with long life, I will satisfy you and show you my salvation. Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much. Thank you. There's one thing I'm not sure that I mentioned early on when Tamara presented the slideshow, but she did all of the hard work putting that together. In the next day or two, we'll post it onto YouTube. So those of you guys that are watching online will have an opportunity to see that in a little bit better quality as well. So for the folks that are watching online, I'm going to say goodbye and end the stream now. For all of you here, the light lunch is about to be served. So please sit around, visit, fellowship, and take comfort from each other. Thank you.